What happens when you riz not one, not two, not three, but 100 girls? You get this fucking Giga Chat. Harem is a genre that is so fucking boring. The classic dense main character, that tsundere who doesn't love him but actually really loves him, the kudere that is silent and emotionless, etc. But what if I tell you this anime is slightly different? Unlike the average beta MC, Rintaro is the king of Riz. The word Riz itself was created for this man. But before he got to all that, let's just go back a little. Rintaro Aijo is maidenless. He has been rejected over 100 times, going from kindergarten up to middle school. He has failed repeatedly. Not a single girl won this guy. If there was a title for the ultimate beta, Rintaro may just take it. Well, to be honest, Kazuya would put up a good fight for that title too, but that's a whole different topic. Anyway, Rintaro goes to a shrine, praying that his curse of negative Riz may just be gone for good. Surprisingly, he ends up meeting this old bald fuck that turns out to actually be the god of that universe. He then revealed to Rintaro that he is not maidenless. In fact, he has 100 soulmates. What the fuck? Did he just win the fucking lottery? But there's a twist. In the case he rejects any of them, they will die. Every sane harem anime watcher usually picks a certain girl as their best girl, whether it's the popular one with the huge hunkers or the flat-chested tsundere, or even a girl whom has a very low number of supporters, making her basically the dark horse, or the short-haired childhood friend who almost always loses. But in this series, there is no fucking losing, alright? Every single girl has their own arc, their own episodes, chapters, their own moments with the main protagonist, making each one of them as equally as important, not making any more shallow than the other or less lovable. Though you may have a favorite, that doesn't change the fact that each one of them is just the peak epitome of a best girl energy. This is a very sweet romance show. The characters have a ton of chemistry together, therefore not making them bland, but actually interesting and not boring to watch or cringeworthy. A show that's fully focused on just romance, not a silly show heavily based on fan service.
Not a silly show heavily based on fan service.
Yeah, right. This harem anime is really special. Let me explain. Reading the premise of this show, you'd think it's just a fucking wet dream. Cause the fuck you mean 100 girls? It's hard enough for a harem anime to even have more than 5 good, well-written girls. And you're telling me you're gonna do 100? Yeah, that just sounds like a load of fucking bullshit. The author of this story is a fucking genius at writing best girls. You'd think that since the story says there's 100 girls that the main character must romance, there will be a ton of cliche, bland, uninteresting female characters that will eventually just be thrown into the abyss, becoming forgotten background characters, never to be mentioned again, while focusing solely on a few main fan favorite characters. But that doesn't happen here. The author is really dedicated to the premise of this story. When he said 100, he was standing on business. Every girl in this series is a sort of deconstruction of their own archetype, making every single one of them interesting, complex with their own issues, making them shine at some certain points, basically making them not like any boring characters, but girls who are so well written, each basically saying, I am the best girl. Rintaro is the goat of harem protagonists. No disrespect to Issei, but this guy is just an absolute gigachat. You'd think that getting rejected 100 times would make him lose hope in ever finding love, but this guy just says fuck you to that and ends up being the most wholesome, loving, caring boyfriend to these girls. He puts so much effort into caring for them. Any little details, he adores them, would absolutely die for them. He loves each one of them equally. He's literally the opposite of a generic harem main character. He's not dense or indecisive. The generic tropes like love triangles or drawn-out confessions. And yes, I'm looking at you, Kazuya. Because why the hell would you need over 200 chapters to confess? Anyway, these tropes simply don't exist in this anime. The main character has literally shown awareness of the fourth wall, as well as manipulating it to his own advantage. For example, in this one chapter, he tears out pages of the manga itself just to ensure that one of his soulmates wouldn't become a forgotten background character, as well as rewriting certain significant events. The main character and the female cast mock the author for being messed up in the head and that this series is so dumb. They even say stuff like, the stupid idiot moron author can't even have a dramatic moments in peace. And, and how they also pity the poor artists for being forced to consistently draw every single girl in every panel. Like, they have an entire chapter dedicated to questioning who the best girl is, and they collectively decide it's the artist for being the most hardworking person who deserves much love. Breaking the fourth wall too much? What are you, Deadpool? In order to further explain why I think this is the best harem anime, I'll use an example of a character. Shizuka is Rintaro's third girlfriend and one of his classmates. She is super shy to the point of being completely mute and not speaking any words at all. Before she met Rintaro, she was consistently bullied by her fellow classmates and abused by her mother. She's a bookworm who could only communicate through using lines or passages from her favorite books or novels by pointing at them when trying to respond to someone. Rintaro, the Giga Chad, not wanting his girlfriend to simply carry books 24/7 in order to communicate, he develops a text-to-speech app so she can freely communicate by digitally using the lines she touches. An absolute goat. The girls in this series consider themselves family, with varying levels of familiarity. Some are close friends, others have a friendly rivalry, while others are acquaintances, at least for now. And some are fucking related to each other. I don't want to spoil further, so I won't explain this point. You'll just have to watch and see for yourself. The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You is a series that is willing to not just challenge every harem anime as well as itself with its own premise, but absolutely dominate in every category, whether it's the main characters or the waifus. It's a series that is not afraid to deliver an absolute banger. Some may say that I am a little biased towards this series, calling it out to be the best harem anime. And maybe they are right. Maybe I am a little biased because there are MILFs in the harem. Or maybe I'm just into an actually well-written harem anime for once. Perhaps both actually. But anyway, I trust the author of 100 Girlfriends. He has cooked a meal that is just chef kissed. I trust him not to burn this meal that he's cooking, knowing that every dish he serves up will be a delightful surprise of horniness and well-written female cast. And trust me when I say I will be there when season 2 comes out.
Within the inner heart of